presents 12 rounds of boxing for the IBO Super Flyweight Championship. Sponsored by PokerMillion.com for a great game of online poker. All the officials have been appointed by the IBO President Ed Levine in association with the British Boxing Board of Control. The fight supervisor from Ham, Surrey, is Mr. Charlie Payne. Timekeeper at the bell is Mr. Norman Maddox, and steward in charge from the British Boxing Board of Control is Mr. Les Potts. Our three medical officers, Dr. Chowdhury, Dr. Saraso, and Dr. Sharp. Our three scoring judges here at ringside, from South Africa, Pakamelia Jacobs, from the USA, Mark Streisler, and from England, Paul Thomas. Referee in charge of the action from Birmingham, England, is Mr. Terry O'Connor. Ladies and gentlemen, they were the officials, and here are the contestants. Firstly, the challenger. He's fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the blue trunks. Weighing in at 8 stone 2.5 pounds and bringing a 26 fight record. 23 wins, 10 inside the scheduled distance, and 3 losses. Coming to the ring as the current British Flyweight champion, ladies and gentlemen from Nottingham, please welcome Too Smooth, Jason Booth. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the champion. He's fighting out of the red corner wearing the white trunks, weighing in at 8 stone 2.75 pounds. Undefeated, 10 contests, 10 wins, 6 inside the scheduled distance, making his first defense. Here's the reigning and defending IBO Super Flyweight champion from East London, South Africa, where he is known as Mad Dog Lunga Ntontela. So, sports fans and Sky Sports fans, let's get the action underway. 12 rounds of boxing for the IBO Super Flyweight Championship.
Terry O'Connor from Birmingham is the referee for this one. Here's what he has to say.
All right, I suppose you're in the changing room. Best lot of boats. Here we go.
The answer is not much, but not much needs to be said, of course. They both know the job, or should do anyway by now. Could be a case of the smooth, sometimes dazzling skills of Jason Booth against the slugging of this Lunga Ntontela. His name looks like Ntontela to look at it on paper, but I'm told reliably that you miss off the first N when you pronounce it. He's only had 10 fights, but he's already won the South African Championship and IBO 2. Boxing out of the southpaw stance with the white trunks. Ntontela. Jason Booth, who's held British and Commonwealth titles at flyweight.
Well, is Jason going to deal with the southpaw stance any better than his brother did?
Jason, the less extrovert of the two brothers. 25, pretty mature pro now. 23 wins, 3 defeats, but those 3 defeats, all honourable efforts in European Championship bids away from home. In one of them, he actually floored the world-class David Guerrero before losing on points. Close one against Alexander Mamutov, and then beaten on a technical decision by Mimoun Chong. So he's never been hammered in there, Jason Booth. Biggest problem came out of the ring when he was hit over the head by an iron bar by a thug who was unconscious, hospitalized. It looked like the end of his career a year or so back. He's come back from that. And thank goodness for that.
Well, they're both just looking for the room and the range to get their shots on. Neither one managing to score with the jabs yet and find that range.
Good right hand, well picked from Jason Booth. I think he's just having a look at this guy, Ntontela. He knows he has the reputation of being quite a sharp puncher. Whipped in a few right hands there as he had him in close.
Taylor looks like he might be able to be a bit heavy-handed with the left hand.
He's won all 10 so far, 6 inside schedule, Ntontela.
It's just coming together there. It can be a problem when there's orthodox and southpaw fighters together, lead foots opposite each other.
Good body shot on the inside twice from Ntontela, 3 times in fact.
He's looked physically strong, only 21 years of age. So there might be time for improvement for Ntontela.
He probably still has that recklessness of youth about him. He's never been beaten and probably doesn't think he ever will be. Can be like that at that age.
He's walked onto a couple of shots from Booth, who's picked some nice snappy counters.
These two fighters have a common opponent, Abbey Amnesi from South Africa, who floored Ntontela but lost to him because of work rate. And to be fair, Jason Booth beat Amnesi but struggled a bit himself. So I don't know what we draw from all of that.
Not a great deal.
Not much, no. But I thought I'd just put it in anyway.
Always good to hear these things.
Bit of bus-stop conversation for you during the week. Second round. Blue trunks, remember. Jason Booth, yet again boxing in front of his home fans, although his 3 European title fights have all been away from home. He could have done with one of them being here. Might have been the difference. How good is this Ntontela? How precocious a talent is he? I don't think they're that excited about him in South Africa. Not exactly rave reviews.
Well, he's only 21. He could just be having a quite a start, but he is unbeaten, so you've got to respect that, an unbeaten record.
British referees John Coyle and Roy Francis judged the fight when he won this IBO belt. That was against a Venezuelan veteran called Edison Torres, who is 34 years old, so I don't know how much we read into that. There's all kinds of people fighting for alleged world titles these days, and by and large we should probably take not too much notice. Ridiculous number of championships, of course.
And he's trying to box and counter Booth, but Ntontela looks strong and he's making Booth work just to keep on the outskirts of the ring and out of range.
It's got to be raiding tactics here, you'd think, by Booth. Use speed, angles, movement to frustrate Ntontela.
Well, he's doing that. He's Ntontela pretty slow of hand because I think he's got a bit of power there.
Unlike in America, it would seem, you can win a fight on the back foot on this side of the Atlantic. I think sometimes in America you get points for just walking forward.
Nicely picked, that right hand from Booth. It's a good boxing from him.
Good right hand from Booth, but he's just waved Ntontela in it in there, almost as if he wants him to come in and he can counter punch him and get away again. Much more experienced, Booth. That could be a factor here. Still a bit novice-y, I should think, Ntontela.
Well, Ntontela obliging, he's coming forward. Booth moving well.
Trying to get the southpaw jab going, but not quite crafty enough or technically cute enough, Ntontela. And sweet, sharp little left hand from Booth.
But do you think Booth's going to have to work for this? He's going to have to cover a lot of ground.
I think he's probably prepared to do it. His corner have told him not to get too involved. It worked in that round all right. Well, brotherly love is when you've just been beaten and been in a hard, grueling fight, to sit there without getting change, seeing if your brother can win.
Well, he put up a good performance. He's got nothing to be ashamed of. Now he wants to see what his brother can do.
So far, so good for Jason. I think he's won the first 2 rounds here, muzzling the mad dog up to now. Round 3, Booth, blue trunks. As for the IBO Super Flyweight trinket. Ntontela gets closer.
I'm sure his corner had said, we need more work rate. You're going to let these rounds slip away from you. You've got to close the distance down and start throwing shots.
I think they basically said to him, don't let him just go out there and be the dance master all night. You're going to have to cut off the corners. The question of whether Ntontela knows quite enough yet to know how to do that really effectively. Let's see. Started the round well, but he doesn't really want to be in here trying to box Booth from the outside. You wouldn't think so anyway.
Booth picking off good shots, using the left hand as an uppercut and then the right hand over the top, and Ntontela falling short with his own jab.
Could be that Ntontela manages to turn the thing on its head with one dynamic shot. We don't know that much about him really. You hear reports, you see the record. He can't be that bad. He won the South African title in his 8th fight. That was a second round job. And Zini Danitsi, I think I've got the pronunciation just about right.
Well, there was the right hand from Booth which steadied up Ntontela. He just went backwards for the first time in this fight, and he's just putting a bit more power into his shots now. Booth just growing in confidence.
He loads with the right and gets away again. Beginning to ooze a bit of confidence in there, Jason Booth. It's almost as if that boxing brain is starting to work out the fellow in front of him.
Lovely counter there with the left hook. Ntontela a little more bemused now, not knowing where these shots are coming from, and now he's on the back foot.
Still think Jason Booth is a potentially world-class flyweight. Boxing at Superfly here. That's 8 stone 3 pounds, by the way, for those of you unfamiliar with this division. They don't have British titles at this weight.
Showing very good skills, teeing off with the left hand and then the right, and Ntontela is looking the 10-fight novice he is.
Looking pretty thoughtful, Ntontela, as if to say, never thought anybody quite like this before. This is a bit different. Oh, and he gets it with a left hand. That was more like it from the South African. He comes from East London and has Welcome Nchita with him, a former world champion.
Booth wasn't getting the jab on. I don't think he can afford to neglect that. That just keeps Ntontela at bay.
6th round of this one. Was there just a little shift in the pattern there in the 5th? It looked like it, didn't it? Blue trunks, remember, of Jason Booth. Remember, he's stepping up in weight as well. This fellow has been fighting at 8 stone 3, and normally Booth fights at 8 stone. And as I was saying, that might not sound a lot, but it can be at these lower weights especially. Just might be feeling the weight in the shot. There's a bit of damage developing under the left eye of Booth. It's not a cut, just a bruise at the moment, and a bit of swelling there and angriness. Seemed to switch off mentally in that last round, I thought, Booth.
Yeah, he did. The sharpness went. Just started to get caught more. He can't afford to do that. Concentration is the key for Booth. He's got to really keep right on the money. He's got to keep that left hand going in, as it just did very nicely.
It's important for him to win tonight. He had that horrible setback of the attack in the street that left him hospitalized. And some people think that might have just knocked something out of him as a fighter too. I suspect he would have done mentally. It takes a lot of time, I would imagine, to get back properly from something like that. He's a deserving case, I think, Jason Booth. He's represented Britain well and proudly away from home in those European Championship fights. He's the kind of guy who deserves a good break, but he has to earn it.
Not as accurate in this round. Booth can't get the shots on, missing with too many. Just needs to settle down and pick the punches.
Single jabs now from Ntontela, who's on the balls of his feet all of a sudden. That wouldn't seem to be the right kind of strategy for him. I think he has to play the hunter here.
Well, a lot of sparring, not really connecting. Somebody's going to make a little bit more of it. Neither one really knows what they want to do, attack or defend.
Well, Ntontela, I think, is elected here to try to outbox Booth in this round. That's something different.
Nice little sharp shot there, just stung Booth.
Just doing that a little bit more, perhaps, Ntontela.
Yeah, maybe he's got the centre of the ring. Maybe just a bit more.
Well, let's see what his brother Nicky's made of it. He's with Ed Robinson.
Well, Nicky, firstly, commiserations for your fight. Gallant effort, but you seem to tire in the later rounds.
Yeah, I'd just like to say before I say anything, you're right, Dad. Sorry, Dad. I love you. I tried my best. Last 2 rounds, and you know how it goes.
You did try your best. It was a good fight, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a very good fight. It was tough. It was hard. He kept coming. He took a lot more ammo than I thought he could take. He's quite classy. Australian, they are good boxers, aren't they? But like I say, there's a rematch in the making already, so that should happen before Christmas, and you'll see another world champion, just like you'll see my brother in a minute.
How do you think Jason's getting on here?
Jason's getting on. He's picking his head off. He's just doing basically, he's sticking to the game plan. He's nicking it. He's being boring and he's nicking it.
You think he'll win on points?
Most definitely.
Thank you, Nicky.
I hope Jason doesn't hear his brother calling him boring.
Wasn't the biggest compliment, was such a good performance.
And blimey, the other fight's only ended about a few minutes ago. They were already talking about a rematch before Christmas. I'm not sure Sting's people are going to agree to that, unless, of course, the money's good. It might be better. Ought to be. 7th round. They seem to make it up as they go along sometimes for these titles.
58-56 on my scorecard, a couple of points ahead for Booth.
But Ntontela's won the last 2, I think, on your card and mine. So is that significant? We move into the second half of the fight. Jason Booth, blue trunks. Trying to make sure it isn't 2 defeats out of 2 for the Booths tonight. That wouldn't have been in the Nottingham script. Just not looking so sharp as it's gone on, Jason Booth.
No, he hasn't built on a good start. He's just gone into his shell a little bit, and Ntontela getting more and more into the fight.
Oh, big left hand! And down goes Jason Booth. Cracking shot. Booth told him it was too. Strangely, as he was down there.
Hands up, hands up, hands
Put
up.
your hands up and walk to me. It was a big shot. He's down. And I think he says good shot to him when he got up.
Well, he was right about that. That was a good shot. And now it's all changed around now.
Oh, nailed him with another left. This isn't looking good now for Booth, because he doesn't look so elusive or fast. He's there in front of Ntontela, and Ntontela obviously does have a bit of a dig, as our South African spies told us.
Well,
Booth's still talking to him.
Yeah, he's got plenty to say. He wants to concentrate on what he's got to do.
Save your energy, Jason, and concentration.
Got to be careful. He's walking onto that left hand.
Fight's level. And he's talking to him still. It was a 2-minute round. That was a 2-minute round. Goodness me. Now that's vital, with one fighter having been on the floor in the round as well.
Yeah, isn't it just? And Ntontela camp, they'll be a little bit upset, and rightly so, at that short round.
Well, there was a world heavyweight title fight once in South Africa when one of the rounds went to 3 minutes 50 seconds.
Yeah, you don't want many of them, do you? That's what you definitely don't want. Well, there it is. Lovely, lovely timed shot. He was quickly up, but it was a good shot with the left hand. Just left himself open, ducks underneath, and as he moved his head to the side, the left fist was there. There it is, very well delivered.
And it was an opportune error by the timekeeper for Jason Booth. Not that he looked as if he was about to get knocked out, but he could have done with a short round there, and he got it.
Again, nailed with the left hand. He's been able to get out of the way of this shot. This is causing problems for Booth.
This has swung right back against him over the last 3 rounds. Jason Booth seems to have lost his speed. Got in with a good left hand of his own, mind you, there. He's going to have to stay out of this guy's way. As you said earlier, he might have to run a marathon or two. But can he do that now? Is he getting slowed down by these body punches?
Well, I think this is the problem. It's a steady pressure. It's not an exciting pressure that he's adopting, Ntontela, but it's just steady pressure. But it's hard to keep on the move and keep away from that.
And he's heavy-handed as well. It's a natural 8'3" fighter against a natural 8-stone fighter. That's something to mix in as well. Just that slight move up in weight is something that would count against Jason Booth as well here.
Good right hand, just steadying Ntontela up with that.
The 10-8 round in the last one for Ntontela leveled it up on the scorecards for both Glenn and I.
And a few nice counters. Steady work rates from Ntontela.
He might be raw, but he does have a bit of a dig, and he's getting to Jason Booth, you sense here now.
He's a little bit open when he comes in, Ntontela can be caught.
Can Booth come up with something different? Can he switch it around again? Can he use his experience to negotiate his way through the 12 rounds and start to pick up points on the cards again? Nicely picked right hand that time from him.
He's landed some nice counters, Booth, in this round. I'm not sure there's been enough of them.
Well, it hasn't been the nightmare that the previous 2 minutes, and it was 2 minutes, turned into. Not a bad little comeback at all from Booth in this round.
Yeah, he's built on it. He's kept the counters going. I think he might have stung Ntontela a little bit with that shot.
And again, he rocks back the South African. Little switch, good finish in the last couple of minutes of the round there from Booth, who raises his hands and feels he scored a psychological point as well as a couple of physical ones too. But from a quiet start, this has developed into quite an absorbing argument now, Glenn.
It is, and then there's the punches, 375 thrown, but Booth landing more, better punch economy, good percentage there, 39%.
That's high, isn't it? That is high.
That's good. So, but you can tell that with the accuracy. You know, he hasn't wasted many shots. Look, you just see that lovely little left hook there.
39% for people at home who might not see a lot of it. What's a good percentage, do you think, to land, economy-wise?
I think if you're anywhere around, 30, 34, somewhere like that, you're pretty accurate.
Yeah, it's not like the GCSEs where you have to get about 75% or whatever it is.
I don't know anything about that.
Not now, anyway. This is the 9th round. It's Jason Booth in the blue trunks. Is this another one that's going to be decided in the late rounds, as the one involving his brother was earlier? He lost Nicky Booth to Nathan Sting. Good right hand, well picked that by Booth.
He's picked his shots well. What I'd like to do is see a bit more work rate from Booth. Put the punches together, combinations. Let's see what this fella's like on the back foot. Take the fight to him a little bit with lots of shots.
This is where Booth's experience could come in handy. of those European Championship fights. He's just been there a little bit more than Ntontela. Goes southpaw for a moment there. Booth back to orthodox again. Just a brief flirtation with the other style.
He's doing better in this stance. Just pressuring Ntontela with the feet. That's making Ntontela lead, and that's when he can counter. But he's drawing him into him.
Just wonder whether Ntontela's mentally relaxed a bit, having put his man on the floor. I wonder if he thought it was all going to fall into place for him nicely as it does in his other fights. But Booth's having none of that. He's come back again with something else. Nicely done. Punches and then away. He doesn't want to be standing in front of this fella. Yeah, that's just a loss of balance by the 21-year-old.
Ntontela looks down at the cornerman there. I'm not sure what that was about.
Has just gone into his shell a little since he scored the knockdown. Strangely.
Well, I think Booth come back at him quite well, and you know, he might have stung him with some of these sharp shots that he's thrown. I just want to see him up the work rate some more.
Tried a right hand, which would have knocked Ntontela into the river trench, I think, if it had landed. Missed by a country mile. Boxing scientist in there at the moment, Jason Booth again, and he's nicked a couple of rounds back. And I think Booth's gone 2 points clear again.
Yep, he has. They were both Booth rounds. That was good boxing. Re-established himself in the fight, and he did that quite well. But you know, he's doing. I like when he just puts Ntontela on the back foot, mixes it up.
A bit more authority.
The Shinfield team with Jason Booth in the corner. A bit more authority they're asking for from him.
Yeah, when he come back after 3-4 rounds, 56, and then that 10-8 round in the 7th to win the last 2. So he's done that well. It's good change in mid-fight and getting back on top.
3 to go.
See, just one punch there. What you want to see there is 2 punches. Bring the combinations in, a left and then a right.
That's basically what the corner were asking for, I think. So here's round 10. Booth's sweeter boxing against the heavier hitting of the raw South African Lunga Ntontela. Raw but useful, I'd say.
Well, just 21, and we know that Booth is a good quality fighter. So, yeah, you got to say this kid's doing quite well.
You don't see that many bad fighters, do you, coming over here from South Africa? They've got a pretty tough education, it seems.
Well, I've got the utmost respect for them.
Just the one knockdown. Booth on the floor in round 7. Left hand, but Booth came back with his own good right, and then 2 more. Good combination punching. There's the 2 you were looking for, and he gets through again with another 2. Then the body shot. Good here from Jason Too Smooth Booth.
Well, we've been looking for that all through this fight, putting the combinations together. Too many single shots from Booth. Too many. Just looking for the one-punch counter. Let's see him up the tempo and see what he can do.
Again, he looks to just lead with the right for a moment, thought about it, and goes back to orthodox. Just looking to confuse Ntontela a little. Well, big punches, uppercut, he staggered him with that one. Not quite sure what the referee was doing there because he seemed to be hurt, Ntontela. Well, there was a kind of mini timeout called by Terry O'Connor. What was that about, Glenn?
Well, I think, you know, he was saying keep them up, but I think Jason Booth didn't react the way he should anyhow. He should have reacted quicker.
He's getting to it now, that right hand. Rocked back the head of the South African. Big stuff here for Booth. And Ntontela wanting to hold on. 10th round, different fight again. Booth, who's been on the floor, at this point, looking like the likely winner.
Well, he knows what to do. Ntontela hasn't got the defence for clusters of punches.
I think at times he's beginning to think here, Booth, and he's thinking, well, what's this guy like on the back foot then?
Well, he's had some of his best success when he's just backed him up slightly.
He's just changed strategy slightly. Another one just going a bit low there. Touch gloves at the end of the round, and it's Booth's round again. He's won 3 in a row on my card. And I reckon that was his best round yet. Ntontela was hurt in that round. Let's see if we can unravel this incident.
Yeah, he's just telling him off for pulling the head down there. He put his hand behind the neck and pulled it down.
Well, he almost couldn't help it because I think he doubled him up with the shot.
Yeah. But you're still not supposed to do that, and he was right, Terry O'Connor, to do that. There's a decent shot, but there that was, you know, you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah, he kind of pulled him onto the right hand.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the ref's got that right. Looking at that again, Terry O'Connor.
Here we go.
Here comes the 11th. Trunks of the South African. Lunga Mad Dog Ntontela, as he calls himself. Defending this IBO championship. It's amazing, isn't it, how you can hold a so-called world title when you've only had 10 fights. Oh, he's rocked him again there. Left hand. His knees buckled, Ntontela. And Booth doesn't really follow it up, not really.
No, the finishing Booth is not good. He hasn't got that instinct, has he? Too careful. He should have been all over him there.
He really had him hurt. Is Ntontela starting to unravel here? It looks like it.
Yep, too smooth is a little bit of the too careful.
Too careful, yeah. He was there because he had him going. I don't know, maybe he was worried by getting caught by some kind of sucker punch on the counter by doing that. Now Ntontela, having been given time to recover, whips in his own left hand.
That's what happens. You've got to react. You hurt your man, you've got to be quick.
Seize the day. That was Dead Poets Society, wasn't it?
Carpe diem. Bit of that, is it?
Picked that uppercut there from Booth. That was class. Just fancies that he can toy with Ntontela for a moment. Just backing off now, the South African. Definite switch in the plot strategically as this has gone on. Booth is starting to look the puncher, isn't he, now?
Yeah, well, he's managed to catch Ntontela all through this fight, just not with combinations, single shots, and had his best successes when he's put 2 or 3 punches together.
Just looking to almost pickpocket little phases of the round. Booth's experience has been a major factor here. He's come through that little crisis, hasn't he?
You know, I don't think he's really worked hard enough in this fight. You know, maybe that's been a bit too critical, but I think he's made Ntontela look a better fighter than he really is. Because he does look a bit limited, slow of hand and foot, and he's caught him quite well at times, but I think he could have done a lot better job than this. You couldn't really hit on some of that injury that he had when he was attacked. That could have took something out of him.
What do you think he should have done differently then, Glenn?
I just think he could have worked more instead of, you know, it's been too many single shots. He could have just upped the tempo, a little more devil.
A bit more combination punching.
Yeah, I think he's shown too much respect. When, you know, he's been pretty easy to hit. There's the good left hook over the top, and the legs do the funny dance there.
But then he stood off.
Unbelievable. Look at the reaction time was far too slow. And then even then, as he goes forward, ultra careful.
Maybe he believed that Ntontela wasn't really hurt, but it looked for all the world as if he was.
Well, I've gone 4 points ahead. One was 6-1 or 2. I think it's pretty similar to you, Ian.
Yeah, about that. He thinks he's winning it. 3 minutes to go. Only people that matter are the judges. They touch gloves, final round. Fight that's had its little moments of drama, notably in the 7th, when Booth was down on the seat of his pants. And I must say, at that particular point, you would have got longish odds on him actually getting up to win it. Little right hand from Ntontela.
Booth picked a nice right in there again, single shots.
Just trying to kid Ntontela out of it all the time. Booth, heavier hitting. Certainly in the early phase of the fight, seemed to be coming from the South African, but not so much of it. Oh, he's got him with the right hand there, knees buckled again. Is Ntontela ready to go? Booth looks to be the one now with the extra firepower. When he sets his feet and stands there and throws the combinations, and maybe you're right, Glenn, with a bit more devil, he could have knocked this bloke out.
Yeah, I think he could have gotten the stoppage. There's still time for him to do that, but he just hasn't reacted right.
I think there have been blurred boundaries with the strategies a bit here. I think he thought early on that he had to dance and move, and it did look that way. But all the signals in the later rounds are that he can win the argument close up with this guy. Oh, again, 1, 2, 3 punches into the head, another one to the body. Booth is the boss now.
Yeah, the combinations have worked so well for him when he's put 2 or 3 shots together. That's when he's really looked impressive.
Looks like at least one of the Booths is going to win tonight. Yet again, he has something to say to Ntontela. Not exactly been the Gettysburg Address, but there's quite a long-running conversation going on. Ntontela goes into a silly little kind of march routine in the middle of the ring, maybe a sign of his frustration. Again, better shots from Booth. Heavy-looking hooks to the head, picking the punches better. I mean, you've been a bit critical, but it isn't an awful performance, is it?
No, he's done well. He's done well. Come back from a knockdown.
The fella's gone amid all the klaxons from ringside. We didn't hear it. It's all over. And there's Nicky, who hopes that his brother has restored the family pride tonight. Nicky fought pretty good himself, mind you, even though he lost. But we think Jason has done enough to win that one. Well, he's in tears of emotion himself. It's quite a lot to deal with, isn't it, emotionally, all in one night, as if in 12 rounds like he had, and then watching his brother.
Yeah, it's a lot. Sometimes you know, I always found it with my brothers that it's harder to watch your family than perform yourself.
There's the number of punches landed. Booth a lot more In fact, nearly 100 more.
Good success rate, 41%. That shows he was accurate, picking his punches well.
Without banging on about last week, of course, De La Hoya landed nearly 100 more and didn't get the decision. I've got there, on my card anyway, I've got Booth 5 points clear.
Yep, I've got it 5 points clear, 116-111. And a comfortable winner, which was very, very good after that 7th round, the 10-8 round, to come back and win everything from them. That shows a good deal of confidence and getting your mind together, getting your concentration together.
There are the 3 men who will score the fight. Well, I say will score the fight. They've already done it, and they've handed in their cards, which are now being collated. And unless there's been a big injustice, Jason Booth has won that fight, I think. I think he won the last 5 rounds, had it level after 7. Just lost his way a bit in the middle of the fight. High level of ability, maybe a bit of devil lacking at times there. He didn't show a lot of clinical finishing touches. But here we go now with a decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of boxing, we have a split decision.
Well, well, well.
Judge Pakamila Jacobs scores the contest 114-113 in favour of Ntontela. Judge Paul Thomas scores the contest 115-112 in favour of Booth. And Judge Mark Streisand scores the contest 110-117 in favour of... And the new IBR Super...
South Beach, Miami, the venue.